Welcome to the latest edition of the Fourth and Gold podcast. We are 1 week away. Can you believe it? I'm pumped, Paul. I can't wait. Like, it's really hit me now that I'm just counting down the days until next Thursday when Eagles Cowboys kicks us off on another roller coaster season. How are you holding up?
Yeah, I'm really excited for next week and got my first fantasy draft later. And yeah, it's just really kind of, you know, it's here now. So I've had fun like looking through some stats from last year and trends and teams win loss totals and any kind of way to have a season long interest in this. Because obviously we're going to have week to week, but to have a season long bet. Don't get carried away with the season long bets because you're tucking away your money for a long period of time. Be careful where you place these wagers as well, that the sports book, or if you're over here in Europe, like the bookmaker allows a cash out if your bet's going extremely well. But yeah, it's great to like know that this time next week it's back.
So we're gonna finish off the off season with our final predictions for the year, including our Super Bowl predictions. And then next week we can start talking about the real thing, which is amazing. So to kick off, let's go through division winners and wildcard places for this year. And we'll start NFC, and I think maybe we'll just go division by division and then we'll get to the wild cards. So let's start off with the NFC North. Who have you got winning this division, Paul?
Originally, I did have the Packers,
I remember that, yeah.
and I'm not going to change my mind. I'm still like I'm going to stay true. I am worried about Detroit. I like now we get this close to it. I'm not concerned about the Vikings, and I'm not overly concerned about the Bears in terms of winning the division, but the Packers, Matthew Golden is going to make a difference. They have a lot of good, not great receivers. I think that they are going to target him often because they're going to be aware that he can take this offense to the next level. They've got Josh Jacobs, who's still not, he's not, he's not old for a running back. He's 28, and last year he tore up the league in rushing. So with Jordan Love, hopefully, knock on wood, staying healthy for the year, I'm going to take a chance on the Packers to win the North. So I think the Lions are just going to regress a little bit, but I'm not worried about the other two.
Okay. Okay. So I'm gonna take the Lions. I still think I know that they've lost their offensive coordinator in Ben Johnson. They've lost their defensive coordinator in Aaron Glenn. But I just look at the roster, and as long as these new coordinators are not a complete flop, I think that they've got enough here to continue where they started. And now they've added another receiver potentially in Tesla. I still think that they've got enough. Like this running game should be enough as a base to keep their offense as one of the best in the league. And it's just the return of Aiden Hutchinson that gives me confidence that the defense will be better this year. So it's probably the hardest division for me to pick because I think you can make an argument, maybe less so for the Bears, but I think you can make an argument for any team really to take this division. But I'm going to roll with the Lions.
Yeah, that's fair. And the sheer number of defensive starters that they're going to get back this year is huge.
Yeah.
And yeah, they are very, very talented. So yeah, I think it's a shootout between these two. But I'm just going to say with Jordan Love being healthy for a whole year, I think it'll be close, but I'm just giving the edge to Green Bay.
Green Bay finished, was it 10-7 last year?
Yeah.
And that was with an injured Jordan Love pretty much all year. So that is a scary proposition because you know me, I do love Jordan Love, and he wasn't healthy last year. So they did pretty well to get that far. Okay, we move on to the NFC East. Um, I'm going to keep it quite simple here. The reigning defending Super Bowl champion Philadelphia Eagles. That's who I'm picking to win this division. The Commanders are a real threat, but there's just something about this Eagles team. They will quietly just knock off 10, 11 wins, like sometimes in a row, and
Yep.
no one's even thinking about it. It's just they go about their business almost, I want to say, like Patriot style. They're not blowing teams out. You're not really, you'll see highlights here and there, but you're not sort of they're not a hype team. They're not going out there winning 40-0. They're just comfortably, quietly going along, winning games. So I don't think they've dropped off really this offseason. I know there's a bit of defensive turnover. I like the replacements they've brought in, and I love the draft pick of Jahad Campbell. And when he comes in, I think he'll make an instant impact. So yeah, Eagles to win the NFC East.
Yeah, I completely agree with everything you said. And just to add to it, the Eagles won this division last year, starting off slowly and with Jalen Hurts and the concerns that they had in the passing game. So imagine the passing game improves by 10-20%. Then the Eagles, similar to the Ravens in the other conference, are a bit of a regular season juggernaut when they get going. I remember watching the Steelers late in the year playing the Eagles. Like, yeah, we're playing well. Yeah, we're still down 14. Like, this team just, yeah, they handle business in the regular season. And that's what I'm looking for in the Eagles is Jalen Hurts in the passing game. Can it take a little step? Because if it can, then it could be they repeat. We know it's hard, but they could repeat. Because imagine that the Eagles have more cards in their hands than they already did have. That would just be unfair. But yeah, Eagles should win this division. Yeah, I think the other two, Cowboys, Giants, no chance. Commanders round about 10-7. I think Vegas has it right. They're on, I think, 9.5 wins. But yeah, Eagles win.
And just that point you made on Jalen Hurts, the passing game, or his passing game, has improved incrementally each year. I'm not the biggest fan of him, but I see the growth year on year. So there's no reason why it shouldn't improve based on what he's stacked up already. Okay, NFC South, another very interesting division. Who have you got winning this one?
I have got the Bucks. They quietly have won this division 4 years in a row, and almost under the radar because it's the Bucks and because it's a small market team and it's the NFC South. And yeah, people say it's a weak division. It is a weak division, but they do win it, and that you can't take anything away from winning a division. So I was trying to talk myself into the Falcons winning this, but when you look at the Bucks, they've kept most of their guys and they've added a receiver, Ibuka, who just the passing of the torch maybe in a couple of years from Evans and Godwin to this kid. McMillan's a good added piece in the passing game. Wirfs and Godwin apparently cleared the up list.
Mm-hmm.
So that's huge. And they've also got being in the NFC South, they've also got the bonus of playing the Panthers and the Saints 4 times. And the NFC South has a favorable schedule. So when you look through the Bucks. So I was trying to talk myself into the Falcons, and I'm looking through the Bucks schedule. I'm like, I can't see how they don't win 10 games. And I can see Atlanta being around, like snapping at their heels, but not getting to 10. And I think, and the Bucks, 10 wins this division. And I think they do it again for 5 in a row.
Very interesting. I was also trying to talk myself into the Falcons winning this division, but I just don't think they're trustworthy yet. And we're going into Michael Penix's first real season. I mean, I liked a lot of the small sample size that we saw. I think I brought it up before. The game tying drive against the Commanders in prime time. That was a great sign. But there's too many questions for me. Like Panthers Saints, no chance in my opinion. And you said it. Look at the Bucks' weapons. They've added not one receiver, but my man Tez Johnson has made the roster. So they've got another X factor, speed demon, that type of receiver locked away basically behind all of the other receivers they've got. Now the Bucks lost Liam Cohen. That could have an impact, but overall, I agree. I just think the Bucks are quite established. Like this roster is pretty stable. So I expect them to do what they have to do to win this division again as well.
Yeah, agreed. Agreed. Like we try to, we don't want to be chalk. We don't want to be like just repeating division winners, but like you said, the Falcons just needs you haven't seen it, and with the Bucks, you have seen it. The Bucks, the question marks come further down the road, but just look at the Bucks schedule. I can't see a way where they don't win 10 games. So
Yep.
I think I'm jumping ahead of myself, but I think 9.5 over 9.5 for the Bucks is a fantastic bet when you look at a season long bet.
Yeah. I mean, they might have 4 in the bank. I know that they're susceptible to dropping the random game here and there, but there's 4 very winnable games in their division. And, if they split with Atlanta, they're halfway there.
Yeah, and they're just in moments like the Bucks. They beat the Eagles, they beat the Lions in the regular season, so they're capable of winning one of those games that they shouldn't. It's do they handle the games, at Carolina, at the Saints, and even when they dropped those dumb games last year, they still won 10 games.
Yeah.
So, and everyone's back. Not the offensive coordinator, I get that, but yeah, give me the Bucks over 10 over 9.5 wins.
Yeah. So that leaves us with my NFC West. I'll kick us off with this one.
Sorry, it's not your division this year.
I've said it from pretty much the get-go. I think the 49ers will win this division. And yeah, I mean, part of it is the schedule. You look at the Rams, they've got the Ravens, the Eagles, the Lions. The 49ers have got the Giants, the Browns, and the Bears. So, three games. I'm not saying the Rams go 0-3. I'm not saying the 49ers go 3-0. But I'm also not as high on the Rams as the rest of the world. I'm just not. We're talking about the Rams who they pulled away at the end in the division, but that division last year was very, very close for a long time. And the Niners were pretty poor last year. And yet they were up by 21, I think, at Levi South, aka SoFi Stadium. Later in the year, when we played the Rams at home, half our team was gone. We lost 12-6. So yeah, okay, you could say, division games are close either way. But we've got a lot of guys, coming in. So I think for me, it comes down to health. If the 49ers do what the 49ers have done in the past and got injured, all bets are off. In particular with Trent Williams. But if they stay healthy, I see them winning this division. And as much as we're fragile with Trent Williams, the Rams are fragile with Matt Stafford, who's had a back injury. So they lose Stafford, it's all bets off for them too.
Yeah, I I hear what you say, um, but this Rams team, the defense is really, really young, and you've got to think that they're going to take the next step in their progression this year. And look at the defense towards the end of last year. Like it didn't seem to matter environment as well. They went into Philadelphia in the cold in the playoffs and gave the Eagles pretty much all they could handle. And the Eagles just pulled it out at the end. And the Stafford thing, I don't think we're being told the full story. Is he really hurt, or are they just managing him, like doing him a favor? Like you're a veteran, you're our franchise quarterback. If you don't want to turn up to training camp, you know you can have a back injury, like Micah Parsons has got a back injury. But so everything with the Rams is based on Stafford being healthy. But I'm getting almost 2-1 on the Rams winning the division because of the value being placed on the 49ers. And you said it with the 49ers, it's based on health. I just like that price. I like those odds for the Rams, the roster, and I wouldn't be surprised if Stafford plays all 17 regular season games and it was all just like smoke and mirrors.
Even if it's not, he's we've seen him. He's a tough guy. He'll play through it pretty much anything if he can stand.
Yeah, and adding Devontae Adams to the Rams is just big. But for me, the wild card in this division are the Seahawks because they're not being spoken about, but you get 5-1 on the Seahawks winning the division. So if the Stafford back injury is true and Trent Williams does go down,
They're right in it.
Seattle are always going to be hanging around. It's always going to be a tough place to go. They're always going to have, you would think, a winning record in their home games at least.
Mm.
So they're going to be around that 500. And then if the Niners have health problems, if Stafford goes down, then they could nick a couple of games in division. Yeah, the Seattle for me are kind of the question mark in this division. We know, barring health, we know about the Rams and the 49ers. And because of with the Niners, oh, everybody's back. Look at like the talent on this roster and look at the schedule. Yeah, but that's the starting roster. So if there's a problem with the 49ers, and we saw what happened with Purdy when people got hurt last year, when he's totally left in charge of driving the bus, it kind of fell apart. So I'm going to take the Rams just because of the price that I'm getting. And yeah, they got it together towards the end of the regular season when they weren't particularly well thought of at the start of last season. So I just like the progression of this team, and those young defensive starters I think are just going to get better and better. So give me the Rams, but shout out to the Seahawks because I think they're like, waiting there for something has to go wrong for the Seahawks to win this division, but it very well can go wrong.
Yeah. And what I would say is, and I said it before, I don't think that this NFC West is as competitive as it has been in terms of contenders. Like it will be a close division, but I don't personally see, you know, these teams fighting for the NFC.
The Rams could, they could, if if the defense continues to improve, they really could. This roster's really, really good. And Devontae Adams, we saw he still had it with Rodgers,
Yeah.
with Rodgers being the most important thing I said there. So does he? Yeah, Adams is not going to slow down as much as speed-based receivers because his game is more based on intelligence and being quick out of his breaks. Just it's not immediate quickness. It's just footwork and exceptional knowledge of playbooks and route running. So yeah, I think Adams is going to add a little bit. And the Rams said that they were done with Cooper Kupp.
Mm.
And
And Stafford is an upgrade for Adams. Like at this point, Rodgers was 40. You know, this isn't prime Aaron Rodgers. It was 40-year-old Aaron Rodgers. So was it now 37-year-old Stafford? To me, that's going to be an upgrade for Adams as well. So if he was able to produce, particularly late in the season when Rodgers stopped checking it down, you know, he's still very good. I can't deny that.
yeah, but I don't have a strong opinion, but I think the Rams just you're getting a good price on the Rams to win the division because of the value placed on the 49ers and their supposed easy schedule coasting to what is it? 11 wins?
Or
10 and
12 if you asked me.
wins. Yeah.
These divisional matches will be huge, I think, this year.
Yeah, and
Because
the
the Rams were, I think the Rams were 10-7. The Niners were 6-11. The Niners went like 1-5 in the division, I think. So um, you can't win your division going 1-5 in your division.
yeah,
So
and Cardinals will always nick a game, nicking
yeah,
them here and there. They
yeah.
just do that. Arizona are just they're never gonna threaten to do anything in January, but they're gonna be annoying between September and December.
Yeah, 100%. So that leaves us with three wild card spots each. Who have you got in the NFC wildcard pool?
So historically, it should be about on average 5 new playoff teams. I've just had trouble in finding them. I really did. So my wild cards are the Lions, the Commanders, and the Falcons.
Ooh,
So
interesting.
yeah, I've only got one new playoff team in the NFC. But yeah, I just struggled to find a new team in this NFC. Think the Packers will be better. Um, the Lions,
Who drops out? Who drops out from last year? Is it the Vikings for you?
yeah,
So Vikings out, Falcons in.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. We'll come on to the Vikings, but yeah, the Commanders I think have had a really good off season. They couldn't really fix everything, so they've just paid some veterans to come in and play on defense.
The oldest roster in the NFL.
Yeah, they weren't going to be able to turn around this because we said it before they played the Lions. Like this is a complete roster mismatch, like a complete everywhere. Who do you take except the quarterback of this Commanders team and put on this Lions team? And you're really struggling. So yeah, the Commanders haven't fixed everything, but they've at least brought in some veteran presence on the defense. I like bringing in Debo. I like bringing in Tunzel. Tunzel's going to help out Jaden Daniels. Jaden Daniels, you would expect, is going to take another step forward. He doesn't seem like the kind of kid that will get carried away with his own success from last year. I saw a clip with him. He's delighted that McLaurin's back,
Mm.
and
That was huge. Getting that done this week. I was starting to wonder if it was going to get done. So that's a big step.
yeah, and they let Brian Robinson go because he wasn't a perfect fit for their scheme. They really like uh, the rookie that they drafted
Mm.
to fit this scheme. Second year with Dan Quinn and Kingsbury calling plays. I just think the Commanders are going to be around, and the Falcons, I think, are going to have a winning record. So they're going to be around the 9-8, 10-7 mark. And I just have concerns about the Vikings, and they're not going to get close to last season with JJ McCarthy. Didn't, I don't think Sam Darnold just played out of his mind last year up until a point where almost like he got tapped on the shoulder to be remembered where he was. And then he did remember, and then it went back to normal. But it's tough, like, to say that he's going to come in and be Jaden Daniels or CJ Stroud in his rookie year when we didn't even see him be prolific at Michigan. And he's thrown 17 passes in the preseason on an NFL field. And then, yeah, so the Vikings are talented, but quarterback is the make it or break it position. And Michael Penix had a lot more experience in college, looked good towards the end of last year. And the Falcons play in the NFC South, and they have a much easier schedule. The Vikings play in the North. So, yeah, I've got the Falcons just making it. What about you?
Okay. So you've found one new team to uh, make the playoffs this year. I've found two. So I'm picking the Niners to win the division. So that's the first one. My wild cards are the Commanders. I think they'll be the fifth seed. What you've said, I totally agree with. I do think I'm going to pick the Vikings to make it. I am. And I think the reason is more the faith I have in Kevin O'Connell and Brian Flores. Now, that defense last year, there wasn't a lot of blue chip players there. And look what Flores was able to do. And they have beefed up that defensive line with my guy, the grave digger, Javon Hargrave. Obviously, he has to stay healthy. Um, I can't remember who else they added, but they've added someone else that will improve that front seven. And on the offensive side, I just have faith that Kevin O'Connell will give JJ McCarthy enough layup throws where Justin Jefferson's over there wide open, throw it to him. He's going to have to make plays at some point. I'm sure he's going to hit a rookie wall as well. So, it's not going to be, what was it last year, 14-3? But it doesn't have to be to make the playoffs. It may have to be somewhere in that region to win the division. I don't think they're going to win the division. But when you think about wildcard places, it could be around that 10-7 mark, maybe even 9-8 in the NFC. And I think there'll be there could be, three or four teams fighting for those two places behind the Commanders. So, leap of faith with Kevin O'Connell and Brian Flores. I'm going to take the Vikings at 6. And at 7, I'm going to do it. I've said it all year, all off season, so I have to back it now. I'm taking the Chicago Bears to be the 7th spot with Ben Johnson and Caleb Williams. I know that it is very easy to get seduced into the hype, but I'm a believer in Ben Johnson. I'm a believer in Caleb Williams. I think that Caleb played better than maybe, people sort of gave him credit for last year with all of the limitations around him. So in this system, I think they'll make the jump. Now that means that the Packers are coming last in this division. And I say they finish last with a winning record. I still think the Packers could be 9-8. Like, I think that is the best division in the NFC. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Wow, you got the Packers finishing last. I've got them winning the division. But
yeah,
said it could be 2 wins that separate this division. The division games are going to be huge,
huge,
especially in
huge.
this absolutely huge, like critical. Um, yeah, interesting. Everything that you said. Just to piggyback off the Vikings, so I I am concerned that the Vikings made a lot of turnovers last year, and I get it, it's Flores, but you can't you can't bet on turnovers.
Yeah.
Like they have those turnovers, those crazy plays happen again. You know he's going to be aggressive, but turnovers rely on a mistake or just a beautiful scheme, and Flores can draw them up. But
And sometimes just luck. Sometimes just you're in the right place at the right time. So I agree.
yeah, and the Bears, I nearly got there with the Bears, but I just need to see it. I just need to see a little bit from the Bears, and I haven't seen Ben Johnson as a head coach. So, but it's tough. It's tough coming up with new teams. That's why I've got to the point where I have. Right.
And
So
I actually think that it's hard. It's gonna, well, we'll see. But I found it harder to find new teams in the AFC.
yeah, I found yeah, it's tough. It's tough. It's easy. I found it a lot easier to tell you teams that I'm completely out on
Yeah,
that have no chance. Like I've got win-loss bets and I've got a lot of unders.
yeah, yeah.
I've got 2 overs and 4 unders. But I think we should hold some for our members on Patreon.
Yep, yep. Definitely,
Hold.
definitely. So we'll move to the AFC. We'll do the same thing. We'll start with the AFC North. Who have you got winning this very interesting division?
Yeah, the Ravens will win the AFC North again, boring as it is. They're just very, very annoyingly good in the regular season. It doesn't seem to matter the schedule. They seem to be almost injury proof as well and even if, well, it doesn't seem to happen to Lamar Jackson. And if guys go down on the O line, they just seem to replace. They're just a really well run organization. They're capable of beating you in a shootout. They're capable of beating you up physically. There's too many question marks. So they're capable of being as we've seen, they're capable of being in like a 45-42 crazy game with Cincinnati. And then they're capable of like losing to the Browns 6-3, but they're just versatile. And yeah, I'm surprised that the Ravens win total is not even higher, but that's because they've got a first place schedule and they play in this division. And people, in my opinion, are overvaluing Cincinnati. So you just know what you're going to get with the Ravens. It's do they take that step in January in the playoffs? But yeah, they're going to win the AFC North, barring a Lamar Jackson injury.
I can't disagree. I mean, they are a regular season juggernaut. I mean, what's their NFC record under Lamar now? Is it like 25-2? They lost to the Eagles last year.
One,
Uh,
lost one.
Lamar threw threw a bad pick against the Giants, who were the other loss. So, but other than that, 25 wins to 2 losses. I mean, that's ridiculous. And there's a lot of question marks about the other three teams in the division. I mean, well, let's not even get started on Cleveland. I just think that the gap is there. And interestingly, in the AFC, each division has been won by the same four teams the last 2 years, at least. So we know the Chiefs have won it for as many years as we can go back, but all four divisions were won by the same team back to back. So yeah, Ravens to continue that and win it again. NFC East, who have you got winning this one with the off-season darlings that are the New England Patriots?
Yeah, I mean they can do. They would still need to have a few off seasons to catch up with the Bills, and yeah, they're not there yet. The Bills win. Let's not look for something crazy. Barring injuries, the Bills win this division, and anybody making a case for New England are just, to me, are just talking crazy. And I don't think the Dolphins are going to be as bad as people say. I think that the moves that they've actually made in the draft, like the I forget the name, but the defensive lineman that they've taken in the draft, like the questions of Miami were always toughness, like losing in the cold. So it's not, like I said with the Commanders, it's not going to happen overnight, but at least they're trying to make steps to be a more physical team, O line, D line. They still got Tyreek Hill, they've still got Waddle, they've still got Tua, they've still got that home field advantage where the other team melts in the sun. So I think Miami are going to be better than people think, and I don't think that New England are going to be as good as, you know, we've been here before with like the Bears, for example, like off-season champions. Okay, cool. Show me playoff wins. Show me like regular season wins. And yeah, the Patriots would be better. The Jets, people are really concerned about the Jets. Apparently, their offense has looked terrible in training camp. Um, I really hope it works out for Justin Fields. I really like the kids, but I think this is a project for Aaron Glenn as head coach, and I think they're going to be bad. I think they're going to be tough, but I think they're going to be around the 5-6 win kind of mark. And yeah, just don't look for something that's not there. The Bills will win this division, barring a Josh Allen injury.
I think the Bills win this division comfortably. Like I expect the New England Patriots to be better, but there's a big gap to make up, and that can't be made in one off season.
No.
So to me, Bills win it pretty convincingly, and we're back in January again. Can they take the next step? AFC South. Okay. I mean, I said it before. These division winners in the AFC have won it at least 2 years running. So I'm going to say the Texans win it again. And it's quite a weak division. So the Jaguars, how much will they improve? It's difficult to answer. Like, we're going to have to see what we get from Trevor Lawrence because it's all set up for him. All the weapons in the world. They've now added Tim Patrick. So that's another dimension to this passing game that is going to be, well, it should be explosive. The Titans, I don't see a CJ Stroud, Jaden Daniels type season for Cam Ward. It's definitely, he's going to need time. And the Colts will be the Colts, which is solidly mid, as I've put it before. Texans win the division.
Yeah, I think the Texans will win this again. I was trying to talk myself into the Jags because, yeah, they've got a heck of a lot of talent. but they've seemed to always have a lot of talent, the Jags. And is this the year that they challenge the Texans? I think a lot of things went wrong last year for the Texans, and they still won the division. And I think that they will win it again. The Colts, I think the Colts are going under the radar. I think the Colts are going to be bad.
Mm.
Not terrible, but I don't think they're going to hit their win total,
Which is,
which is 7.5. So I have the
mm,
Colts 7-10 or worse.
yeah, dodgy number that. You
Yeah,
wouldn't be confident. I definitely wouldn't be picking over.
yeah. I don't want to get into a rant about the Colts and the Daniel Jones thing, but yeah, I think they've kind of signed their fate to
Yeah.
being under 7.5 wins with that decision. And the Titans don't have, to me, if Cam Ward is who they hope he is, then I don't think they've got enough around him. I think
Yeah.
he'd have to be Jaden Daniels for them to have a winning record and challenge. And that's a lot to ask because, Calvin Ridley's your number one receiver and then Tyler Lockett coming towards the end. And yeah, the O
It's not
line is,
Nico Collins and Terry McLaurin, so
yeah, the O line is still potentially not going to be good. And we saw what happened with Caleb and a bad O line. Yeah, I think the Titans could finish third and the Colts finish last. That's what I'm coming around to in the last few weeks. The Colts do have talent all around their roster, but they've got Daniel Jones, a quarterback, and you just know what they're going to do. They're gonna run the ball a whole lot with Jonathan Taylor, and he's a year older. I love Jonathan Taylor, but yeah, I that's my big thing with this division is that I don't think the Colts are going to reach their win total.
fair. Okay. So the last division, the AFC West. Who do you have winning this one?
Yeah, I saw Nick Wright. He was previewing this division, and obviously, no surprise, he was just, yeah, the Chiefs win it. Just let's move on. But he had the Raiders finishing second, and he had the Broncos finishing last. And
Wow.
the argument that he was making about the Broncos, and I do kind of agree, is that the Broncos only beat two. So Bo Nix, what was it he said? He beat two quarterbacks that are currently starters in this year's NFL. And every other game that they played against, a playoff team or a starter who's starting this year, they lost. Because they obviously, the NFL schedule, they had the benefit of having a weaker schedule because of their finishing position the previous year. But I watched Bo Nix play last year, and he did play really, really well. And you can just see in his stats towards the end of the year, he can make throws. He is really mobile. If it's not
Yeah.
there, he takes off. Sean Payton with another year to draw up plays for him. But and I want to pick a new division winner, but it's asking a lot for them to beat the Chiefs and win this division. Um, the Raiders, I think the Raiders are the best bet in this division to beat their win total, which is 6.5. I think the Raiders 7-10 or better. I think Ashton Genty, if the O line holds up, Ashton Genty is going to be a superstar in this league, and his rushing yards is only, what did they have it at?
1,050, is it?
Yeah, he's gonna get a lot of carries, heck of a lot of carries. And the Chargers and the Broncos are just. I know that you're probably higher on the Chargers than I am because of your love for the head coach. But the Chargers lost their starting tackle Slater, which is huge, especially for the Chargers and the way they want to play.
Yeah.
Protect the quarterback and run the freaking ball all the damn time. So I think that's a big, big problem for the Chargers. And yeah, just don't question it. I think the Chiefs, like 15-2, losing week 18 to the Broncos when they rested all their starters. They were undefeated in close games. But they're going to be over 500 in close games this year because they've got coach quarterback and the defensive coordinator as well. And every single year we seem to be here, oh, look at the wide receivers and look at the offensive line. Yeah, but those are questions that the Chiefs have to overcome in the playoffs when they come up against these Eagles, those kind of teams that can wreck you, as we saw in the Super Bowl and the Bucks a couple of years before that. But the Chiefs, just like we said with the Eagles and the Ravens, just handle business in the regular season. And I know it's a bit square and I know it's a bit predictable, but I think the Chiefs will just handle it and win the West again. And you're kind of getting a good price because everyone's in love with, the Chargers and the Broncos. But the Broncos are are interesting just because of what Nick Wright said, and I wasn't aware of that. Two starting quarterbacks, and I think it's Russell Wilson, and I can't remember the other one, were the quarterbacks that he beat. Yeah, so yeah, I had when we did the win loss, no thought into it. Just right, just give me your snap reaction. I had the Broncos 10-7. That's not going to be enough. I don't have the Chargers making 10 wins. I do have the Raiders being around 7-10, 8-9, but the Chiefs are going to win. They're going to win 12 games or more, and therefore they win this division.
Yeah. I'm not picking against the Chiefs. I'm sorry. I think there is Chiefs fatigue, and I get it. But I want to say it's fatigue, and I hope that the world genuinely doesn't hate Patrick Mahomes because there's literally no reason to hate him. This is greatness that we're seeing. I can't bet against them, whether the Broncos and the Chargers have got better or not. How many games did they win last year?
15.
15, right? And they didn't play the last game.
Yeah.
Maybe they don't win 15 this year, but they're not going to win 10. I think they win more than that. And it's a case of, can they get through these first 6 weeks without Rashee Rice? And then it gets interesting because we've never really seen Xavier Worthy and Rashee Rice together. And when this prospect came up, it's like the perfect fit because you've got Xavier Worthy who can take the top off, who can do all the reverse sweeps. That's your speed guy. And then you've got Rashee Rice, who's your underneath guy. And I think that's a perfect complement. So when, these first 6 weeks, this is the time where everyone else in the division, you better win your games and get in front because I think the Chiefs will grow through this season. And if they come out of these first few weeks, because it's quite a difficult schedule, if they come out 4-2, I think you're in trouble. So I'm not going to pick against the Chiefs. I have to see them lose this division before I'm going to believe that they will. So that leaves us with the AFC wildcard picks. And we'll stay with the West because I actually have the Chargers finishing second in the division ahead of the Broncos. I know the Broncos, that defense, particularly with the additions of Dre Greenlaw in particular, and Hufanga if he's healthy, they were already very good. Greenlaw is going to give you a lift that you don't know, that you don't expect, basically, with the way that he plays. He will amp everyone up. So I expect the Broncos defense to be even better. But I like the moves that the Chargers have made, and I get it. They lost Rashawn Slater, but as our friend Answer the Call said, Joe Alt is a left tackle, and he will be playing on that side. So it's really the right side of the offensive line they have to worry about. I'm looking at the weapons that Herbert now has, and really it is set up for him. It is. It's not. It doesn't have to be all on the run game. Which, by the way, Najee Harris and Amarian Hampton, welcome to Jim Harbaugh football, everyone. They are just gonna run it down your throat until you stop it, basically. But I'm looking at the receiver core now. McConkey, it doesn't have to be all on him. They've got Keenan Allen as their safety net. They've got Trey Harris, who I am very high on. And even the tight end Disley was big for them. So I've got the Chargers as the number 5 seed as a wild card. I've got the Broncos as the number 6 seed. So that leaves one spot. And again, like in the NFC, I've rolled the dice. I'm going to roll the dice on the AFC side, and I'm going to pick the Cincinnati Bengals. It's crazy because that defense was terrible last year. But if it can just be a bit better than that, like, can you be slightly below average? That's all we're asking. Because I have full belief in Burrow. I have full belief in this offense with Jamar Chase, with T. Higgins, with Yoshivas, with the tight end Gasicki, who can make plays for them. Can the defense just be a bit better? And can they get off to a quicker start? Because as we know, through 2 weeks in the Joe Burrow era, they are 1-9. You can't start 0-2 again this year. So I'm going to roll the dice. The Bengals sneak in. I've got the Chiefs as the number 2 seed. So it will mean in the wild card weekend, we'll get Bengals at Chiefs.
You're falling into the trap again. I've been there and taken my medicine for that. Wildcards, 5 seeds, Denver Broncos. I heard everything that Nick Wright said, and I have completely just disregarded it because I watched Bo Nix play, and I've watched this defense play, and I've watched Sean Payton coach teams for years. Another year with Bo Nix, and he was pretty good at the end of last year. I think the running back Harvey's going to be good, and his rushing yards total, by the way, is 7. If he has 725 rushing yards, you cash your bet
Love it.
in a Sean Payton scheme. Yeah, I'm just going with the defense. They play at Mile High, and I think they'll be the 5 seeds. 6 seeds, closely behind the Broncos, is the Chargers. While I'm not in love with the Chargers, maybe as much as you, I completely agree with everything you said about them. There's just too much talent on this roster, even despite losing the tackle. But Joe Wall can't play both tackle positions. But it's Jim Harbaugh, it's Najee Harris, it's Hampton, it's this O-line, and hopefully they find a solution at right tackle. It's Justin Herbert with adding weapons on the outside. The defense, it doesn't seem to matter who plays defense. It's the Jim Harbaugh coach defense. Doesn't seem to matter about names. They completely trimmed the roster last year and they were still damn good. It's just going to be, do they do it in the playoffs? But I've got the Chargers just behind the Broncos. Maybe that's the division games. That's a tiebreaker, but those could interchange. And the 7 seed, I heard everything you said about the Bengals, and I wanted to pick Cincinnati, despite being burnt by them on numerous occasions. But the reason I didn't come to the Bengals was that Joe Burrow was if scoring him out of 10 last year, he was what 9.9.5, 9.6, say.
After, say, week 4.
Yeah. But if you score him for the whole regular season, he's at least over a 9. And I said this to you earlier in this off season. What if Joe Burrow has an 8 out of 10, 7 out of 10 year?
Yeah.
What if Jamar Chase has a 7 out of 10, 8 out of 10 year? What if the messing about with Hendrickson actually hurts them?
Mm.
Hendrickson was immense last year, led the league in sacks. What if he's not leading the league in sacks? He was on this defense last year, and that's what they put out.
They were bottom in every stat when he wasn't on the field.
Right. So
It's a lot to make up.
those three guys need to be performing at maximum. And you need the rest of the defense to improve for the Bengals because we saw it. That's exactly what happened last year, and the Bengals didn't make it. So I just can't do it with the Bengals. But call me crazy. I'm going to do it. I'm picking. Yeah, screw it. I'm going to do it. I'm going to pick the Jacksonville Jaguars to squeak into the playoffs as the number 7 seeds.
Wow.
New head coach, a lot of talent on this roster, play in a weak division. Trevor Lawrence was back in the day a first overall pick. Can he play at a 7 out of 10 throughout the season? And yeah, I just going by talent and who they're playing in their schedule and my lack of faith in the Bengals on defense, I'm going to pick the Jacksonville Jaguars to make the playoffs
Interesting.
on
It,
record.
it all comes down to that first 6 weeks because they've got a gauntlet to start. And
Yeah,
if they can just go 3-3, if they come out of that 3-3, the rest of that will give them the confidence as well with the rest of the schedule, which is more favourable. So it's just can they get through that first 6 weeks? That's going to dictate their season, I think.
yeah, they just really need to be tougher, the Jaguars, and just not make stupid mistakes
Yeah,
and tighten up a little bit on defense. But if you go through their roster, they've got some serious guys on this roster.
yeah.
And I think that he's going to get a bit of improvement out of Trevor Lawrence, the new head coach. So, yeah, yeah, I'm just going to do it. I'm just going to do it. But I think the Steelers, I had the Steelers at 8 and 9.
Yeah.
I've got the Bengals around about the same mark, 8 and 9, maybe 9 and 8. I think the Jaguars could get in at 9 and 8, 10 and 7.
Yep, that's going to be around that. So before we move on to uh, championship games, have you had a thought about who will be regular season MVP?
Um, just based on the prices. So obviously you've got Allen and Jackson, 5-1, 11-2. Mahomes. Mahomes is, I think, third favorite. But I'm going to go for partly because of my faith in the team that he quarterbacks, and don't overcomplicate this award. It goes to quarterbacks, despite anything that a receiver or a running back would do. So I'm going for value, and I think that Baker Mayfield has a
Ooh.
chance to be the MVP. He's 25-1 to be MVP.
He puts up numbers, so that is part of that discussion. That's very interesting. I've gone a bit more square, just because in general they pick the quarterback from a number 1 seed.
Yeah.
So my number one seeds this year are the Eagles and the Ravens. And so I think there's a guy in Baltimore who's pretty pissed off he didn't win the MVP last year. So I think he is going to get it this year and put up crazy numbers again. So Lamar, third MVP for him, I say.
Yeah. Can't disagree.
So on to the conference championship games. What I want you to do, Paul, is I want you to tell me the teams that are going to be involved, but don't tell me who you think is going to win yet. So we'll start with NFC Championship. Who's making it this year?
I, I'm going to say the NFC title game is the Bucks and the Eagles.
Whoa. Wow. So Bucks at Eagles.
Bucks at Eagles.
Very interesting. Very interesting. I picked this NFC Championship last year and it nearly happened. And I say it will happen this year. I say Lions at Eagles.
Yeah.
And then on the AFC side, what is my rule, Paul, with the losing team in the Super Bowl? If you lose the Super Bowl, the very next season, you don't go back to the Super Bowl. That team that lost last year was the Chiefs. And that is a scary team to bet against, in my opinion. Even now, even after this ridiculous run that they've been on, it's very hard to pick against them. But I'm going to do it this year. But I say they get there. I say they get to the AFC Championship. Chiefs at Ravens.
I've got, I know the teams. I'm just deciding who's going to host it. I say the Ravens go to Buffalo. Ravens at Bills. I don't think the Chiefs make it this year. I think one of those two knock them out in the previous round, finally. So, yeah, it's about time for these two. It's really about time. And if they meet each other in the AFC title game, then you're guaranteed that one of them actually make it to the Super Bowl. So I really hope this happens. Yeah, Ravens at Bills.
This now that would be epic because it's a return to the scene of the crime for the Ravens who lost there last year. Like imagine that. That would be epic. And as you said, Lamar, Josh Allen, they're both on this ridiculous trajectory, but there's one man that keeps getting in their way or one team that keeps getting in their way. So that would be perfectly set up. So go ahead. Tell me, you've got Bucks at Eagles, Ravens at Bills. Who's going to the Super Bowl and who's winning the Super Bowl?
The Ravens will knock off the Bills. I think the Ravens are going to be pissed off from the game last year, a game they should have won. And the Bucks, like it's a fairy tale ride to make it to NFC title game, but this is Philadelphia, and I think it comes to an end there. So Ravens, Eagles, Super Bowl, and I say Lamar wins his first one.
Very interesting. So, Lions at Eagles, I could see being game of the year. Like, crazy scoreline, crazy offense, but ultimately, the Lions can't get it done. And I say the Eagles advance. They set themselves up for back to back Super Bowls. And then on the other side, the Chiefs going into Baltimore. The Chiefs, what is their worst season? Losing in overtime of the AFC Championship in the Mahomes era. Well, I say this becomes their worst season. They just lose the AFC Championship to the Ravens. And just like you, I say this is Lamar's year. The Ravens beat the Eagles. Lamar is regular season MVP and Super Bowl MVP. So we've picked the same Super Bowl. That I was not expecting.
Yeah, yeah, I'm really high on the Bucks, but I can't see them beating the Eagles and the Ravens. Just they match up really well against the Bills. I think the Bills need the Ravens to not make it. A lot of things went in the Bills' favor in that previous game, and I don't think that's going to happen again. The cards aren't going to exactly fall the same way that they fell in that game.
They played a perfectly clean game, and the Ravens played a far from clean game, and the Ravens still nearly tied it at the end. So that says it all.
Yeah, but it's all based on the caveat that Baltimore don't do what they always do in the playoffs.
True, true.
But yeah, this is it's just about time that because when we were talking to Tim like yeah last week, and he's asking for a crazy hot take, and I said the Chiefs don't make the AFC title game, and you both looked at me like that's not crazy. It's like yeah, it is crazy. It's happened. It's happened like what is it, 6, 7 years in a row. So it
7
is
years.
crazy that they don't make it. But one of these teams, it's about time that they actually just end this run. I say the Chiefs win their division, but I say they don't make it to the title game. And Ravens are Eagles in the Super Bowl. Like that's what I want to see as a fan. Like
Yeah.
they are the two best. Yeah,
Two best rosters. Look at what the Ravens have done this year. They've added Mike Green, a speed rusher. That's what they were lacking on that
yeah,
side, on that front seven. Malachi Starks to go with Cole Hamilton, who can now, who's just been paid as well, who can now freelance. They're stacked at every level. I suppose the only position maybe is receiver, but I still quite like their receivers. While they don't have a true number one, they've got Zay Flowers. Bateman is reliable. Like Lamar loves Bateman. Hopkins, I think, will offer more than he did for the Chiefs. Um, it might not be much more, but it will be more. And then the tight end spot. Andrews is good, but I really like Likely. Like Likely to me is the true number one. And I haven't even said King Henry. Lamar and King Henry in the backfield, exactly what we thought it would be. A complete headache for you. You know, do you, that read option is ridiculous, as the Texans found out, like where they were giving up 70-yard touchdowns. So this feels like it has to be the year for the Ravens. You reach a point in a cycle where your roster is like, this is the optimum. And I think this is the point for the Ravens. This is the best roster they will have, and it will start to gradually reduce after this year.
yeah. It's yeah. You said everything. The Ravens just it's time. It's time. You've been messing about in the playoffs for too long. You've been involved in stupid games that you shouldn't have lost.
Yeah. And
So
and and the Bills. I'm sorry, I'm just going to keep asking the same question. Who is the difference maker outside of Josh Allen? You've got James Cook, fine, like he is really good. But I'm looking at these receivers: Khalil Shakir, Keon Coleman, the tight ends Kincaid, Dawson Knox. In that big moment, I keep asking the same question: who's going to be the guy that makes the difference? And I don't have an answer.
yeah, with the Bills, it's so when they had Diggs, and I know he was a pain in the butt, and they had to get rid of him, but that should have taught them that they can reach another level with a. You wouldn't call Diggs a superstar, but a top.
He's a guy, though. Yeah,
Yeah, he's a lot better than what they've currently got.
yeah,
They should have learned from that and gone right. We need to. That worked for us, right? We need a real talent at receiver, and they've tried to replace him with a lot of the Green Bay method, a lot of like B plus receivers. No, you need a guy if you're not the Ravens and you haven't got like a running quarterback and a beast behind him at tailback and a huge O line, then you need some talent out on the outside that's going to at least scare the defense. These guys, they're just they're just mid receivers.
You'll
So
win in the regular season. Like you'll win loads of games in the regular season. But you're right. Like they are mid receivers. You know, in an AFC championship, you're going to hang your hat on one of these guys.
But why are the Bills not making that kind of move like the Packers finally made and taking the receiver? So the pack, and it wouldn't have been huge. So the Packers drafted, in the 20s. So the
Yep,
Bills wouldn't have been.
that
It wouldn't.
far off.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it probably would have cost them, you know, their first round pick and maybe a third and another fifth or sixth round pick, maybe to move up those 10 spots. But maybe they didn't have it. But I don't think that the Bills would even do that. But
no.
maybe they didn't have the intel that the Packers were going to take it. But I don't think that the Bills make that kind of move.
Much like you said, like the Packers normally don't normally make a move like that for receiver in round one.
Yeah.
So
And that's why I'm actually probably too high on the Packers because they finally did make the move. Imagine if the Bills, we'd feel a lot different about the Bills if they imagine they had Golden. Now, we don't know. He's a draft pick. He's a complete lottery, but you still go, ooh, they've got a really fast first round receiver that they've drafted. Okay, okay, and it's just
I'm
another
trying to
little
think.
dimension.
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to think. Like, who could they have got in free agency, for example? I can't remember there being a top tier receiver. So yeah, take someone in the draft. It just feels like they're missing that I don't want to say like focal point because maybe they don't want that. They don't want someone that they completely rely on. But I still feel like you need a number one receiver where defenses are saying we can't really just put one guy on this receiver. We have to double him, and that opens it up for everyone else. It's almost like the Commanders take McLaurin off. What do you think about that passing attack now? You're kind of like, okay, you know, it doesn't look as shiny, does it? And that's where I think the Bills are. They're lacking that difference maker at receiver still.
Yeah, I just think it's a lot to win three playoff games without being a damn good team, and the Chiefs have shown that it's really hard to win a Super Bowl when your talent at receiver you know, is is not towards the top of the league.
Yeah,
So yeah,
and
but
that
Buffalo, like that's what they really need to do. I'd be so pumped if the Bills took Matthew Golden. But I'm excited he's on the Packers, but that would be amazing if he was with yeah. Because he's quick. He's an outside receiver who ran quick. He'd be okay, okay. So you've got your little slot guy, Shakir, and you've got your kind of big body guy in Coleman, and then you've got like a speed guy on the outside as well as the tight end who's hopefully let go of the demons from the drop catch, and yeah, you've re-signed James Cook, and you've got a really good O line, but the Bills,
that's the missing piece.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, because if say they make it through the AFC, say the cards fall perfectly again against the Ravens, they really hope that it's not the Lions or the Eagles in the Super Bowl because going up against the Bills going up against those two, I just don't think they can handle that.
Like both those teams have got multiple receivers that you would say, okay, yeah, okay, you're looking at Jameson Williams saying, okay, he's probably not a number one. but he'd probably be the number one on the Bills. And
Yeah.
Devonta Smith would definitely be the number one on the Bills. And they're number two receivers. So that's the difference in mentality from certain teams to the Bills now.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you've seen it with your 49ers, it's tough. It's tough
Mm.
when you're scratching around for a receiver this late before the start of the season. You're like, hello, Sky Moore. Like,
Marquez Valdez Scantling.
yeah, it's
The
it's
irony.
it's sad times, really, really is. But go and draft a receiver. Just draft a receiver.
We're going to look at some season long best bets and player props now, Paul. Before we start, I've got an interesting one for you, but it's less interesting now I know what you think of the Jaguars. But I saw this earlier today. The bet is last winless team. So you've got the Browns as the favourites at 4-1, Saints at 5-1, but the Jaguars are 25-1. And I just wonder if they lose that first game to the Panthers. Now, I said that they wouldn't, but if they did, would they be in with a shot of being the last winless team? Because week one, Browns against the Bengals, that could be an upset. We know that that could be an upset. Saints, Cardinals, Jaguars, Panthers. You watch, they'll all win now. But I'm looking at the Browns' schedule. Bengals at Ravens, Packers at Lions, Vikings at Steelers, Dolphins at Patriots. Where's the win going to come from unless they do what they did a few years ago and beat the Bengals in week one?
Yeah, yeah, keep betting small on that kind of bet because there's always a crazy game like the Bengals. But
Yep.
it's the Bengals, like you said. As soon as you said you laid out your thought process with that bet, my first thought is Browns Bengals week one.
Mm.
It's the Browns Bengals, they know each other. It's the Bengals in week one. And yeah, not a perfect off season for the Bengals.
No, true. So maybe we could be looking at the Saints. Arizona won't be easy. Then the Niners, at Seahawks, at Bills, Giants at home, Patriots at home, at Bears. I feel like they'll have won a game by then.
Yeah. How about what's the price of the Saints and the Giants so that you hope that everybody's won a game and then the Saint Giants go to the Saints,
Oh, wow.
both winless, then you're guaranteed a winner.
Interesting. I haven't got the Giants price, so I'm going to look at that because I can't remember what their start's like. I
They
feel like
start with the
it's a
Cowboys.
brutal one.
Yeah, I think it's Cowboys.
It must be Washington because Cowboys Eagles.
Yeah.
Oof. Yeah, I'll have a look at that. But I'm just wondering with the Jaguars because let's just say that they lose to the Panthers. After that, well, after that at Bengals, Texans at 49ers, Chiefs, Seahawks, Rams at Wembley. Then they're on a bye. So if they haven't won, gives other teams an opportunity to win at Vegas. So sorry, at Raiders. Maybe that's the game. So it is a long shot, but I'm just wondering if they can't get through week one, there's an outside chance with the Jags.
Yeah, it's a good shout at 25-1.
Yeah.
What else you got?
Okay. I've got a blockbuster special. It's a treble, and it is a yardage leader treble. 250-1 on Sky Bet. The passing leader, Joe Burrow. Rushing leader, Saquon. Receiving leader, Justin Jefferson. So with Burrow, I do feel very confident in that one. Saquon is the one that I don't feel confident on because every team that's going to play the Eagles this offseason should be finding a way to stop this run game, because that's what really was the catalyst for the Eagles last year. So I'm expecting there to be a drop off from Saquon, but at the same time, it is this Eagles offensive line, and what they do is what they do, and no one can stop it. And yeah, okay, Jefferson with a new rookie quarterback, basically, but he's proven that he's pretty quarterback proof. Like, what was that carousel they had? Josh Dobbs, Nick Mullins. He was still putting up 150 yards a game. So at 251, I think that this is well worth a punt.
Nick Mullins, I thought you loved Nick Mullins. He's the guy. He was the quarterback when Kittle had that crazy game.
Well, he got the best out of Kittle. He got the best out of Jefferson. Maybe he'll get a chance to get the best out of Brian Thomas Jr. and Travis Hunter this year. We'll see.
Yeah, isn't is that was that a request the bet, or is that price up?
That price is up right now.
Because I'd be interested in that same bet and just sub out Jefferson for Chase, because my thinking is, right, if Burrow leads the league in passing, then Chase is he's gonna be the number one receiver on that offense. And I've got Joe Burrow thrown to me as opposed to JJ McCarthy.
Yeah. And I would swap personally Saquon for King Henry, because I think King Henry will lead in rushing this year.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Okay.
Hit me. What have you got, Paul?
Well, I've just got individual bets. So the one that, well, there are many. There are many that I've got. Probably the one that I'm sweetest on is, as we said, going through the divisions, the Bucks over 9.5 wins.
Yeah, just love it.
Based on schedule. And then the Falcons over 8.5 wins.
Yep.
Give me Arizona under 8.5 wins. So for Arizona, if the Cardinals are 8 and 9, that's a winning bet, and it's even money. They're going to be around. They're going to be annoying. They're going to win games they shouldn't win. But it's Kyler Murray, and he's inconsistent. What is inconsistent? 8 and 9.
What was their record last year?
I think it was 8 and 9.
Yeah, and that was beating the Rams early when the Rams were still figuring it out, beating the Niners twice when the Niners sucked, let's face it, and maybe they even split with the Seahawks. So they got 4 wins out of their division that maybe they won't get this year.
Yeah, just jumped out to me when I'm going through the team's win totals. Under 8.5 for Arizona. The Colts, touched on them earlier on. Daniel Jones, 7.5 wins. Give me the Colts under 7.5 wins. You'll disagree with this one, but give me the Vikings under 9.5 wins. Okay. So if the Vikings are 9 and 8, that bet cashes.
Yeah,
I think they're in a really, really tough division, and they've got a rookie quarterback who's thrown 17 passes total in an NFL stadium in a preseason game. So
that's fair.
Give me the Vikings under, and give me the 49ers under 10.5 wins. So 10 and 7 is a winning bet for this. Yes, yep. Easy schedule, but tell me the last time the 49ers went through a whole regular season without either Trent Williams or McCaffrey being hurt for a period, or both.
That's fair.
If either of those things happen, I don't see them making it to 11 wins. So 10.5 wins, I think, is just a bit too high for the 49ers. Some player prop bets that I've got, and a bet that's just surprised me. Maybe it's too short, but Baltimore, just to make the AFC title game, is 7-4 with Bet365. So,
well, I'll give you one on top of that. The Ravens to win the most games this year, Like I know that there could be others, but they're a regular season juggernaut. 5-1.
Yeah, yeah, and then player prop bets. One that I surprised myself by liking this, but I kind of really do like this bet. Calvin Ridley, who's the number one receiver in Tennessee,
Mm-hmm.
right? The number's 900. So if he has 901 receiving yards, this bet cashes. He's the number one target at Tennessee. They've got Tyler Lockett and some guys outside of him. And the head coach, you know he's going to throw the ball.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to draw up a lot of passing plays. Cam Ward did throw for a heck of a lot of yards in college. Yes, I get it. It's in college. But Calvin Ridley's had 1,000 yards back-to-back seasons, but he plays on the Titans, so he doesn't really get noticed.
He had 1,000 last year.
Yeah.
Wow. So, like, I lost confidence in him because I wagered on him a few times last year. And in some of those games, he had 0 catches. But I must have just got unlucky because if he's hit 1,000, like he's been productive. Like it's one of those, isn't it? Maybe he is that boom or bust. You don't get him involved early. He basically is a passenger, but you get him involved early, he'll give you 100 receiving. So
Yeah, he's going to be the number one in a team that I think could be behind in a lot of games and need to throw the ball to come back into games. Definite upgrade at quarterback. I think the number's quite low. Matthew Golden, I know Green Bay have a lot of receivers, over 725 receiving yards.
sorry, how much?
725.
That's interesting because if he really stands out as the number one, he'll hit that easily. It's just where I guess Vegas are playing that game with, are the Packers gonna continue to not have a true number one? But the reason for that is no one really grabbed it. Like if he grabs it, easy money.
Yeah, I'd be careful with it because, like the point you just made, so Dobbs is 500. But
Yeah, I
yeah,
think that's fair.
be careful with the Packers offense. I think the only almost the best bet would be Josh Jacobs, but that's factored into the market already.
Yeah.
And one Steelers bet, I've got Caleb Johnson rushing yards over 750. So word is he is going to be the number one. Yeah, they're going to probably split with Jalen Warren, but it's probably going to be in Caleb Johnson's favor. He's going to be the 1A over Jalen Warren. And we've seen it. Jalen Warren is, your change of pace back, comes in
Yeah.
on third down. I love Jalen Warren, but he's not a number one running back in this league. Caleb Johnson is at Iowa State, was a zone running back. They drafted him to run in an Arthur Smith coached offense, which is a zone running scheme. Caleb Johnson 750. I don't think's a lot. Najee ran for 1,000,
4 years in a row.
sharing touches with Jalen Warren, with Arthur Smith. Najee's gone. Caleb Johnson's turned up. I thought the number would be 800 and something. It's 750. So give me that.
And I'm high on Caleb Johnson even before he was drafted with the Steelers. Like it's almost like Le'Veon Bell with more speed, or to some degree. Like the tools are there. I'm not saying that he's got the patience that was truly special with Bell, but you can see it. Like, and I feel like his situation is the same as the Patriots running back, who is Travion Henderson. His number's 700. I could see a situation where Johnson and Henderson currently, they're like projected to be the number one running backs. truly establish themselves and are the number one running backs, they'll hit those numbers pretty easily, I think.
Yeah, yeah, completely agree. I don't know his rushing total from last year, but you know me, I love Bo Nix rushing yards. Bo Nix rushing yards for the whole season is 424. So
Love it.
425 is a winning bet. And in context, Jaden Daniels is 570 something, and Lamar
Mm.
Jackson is 700 and something. And yeah, of course, it's Lamar and
He
it's
hits
Jaden
that.
Daniels,
Yeah,
but Bo Nix, I think Sean Payton's gonna, and we've seen it with Bo Nix. If it's not there, he takes off,
exactly.
and he
Exactly.
averages 9 yards of rush when he's pressured. So it's not going to take a lot to get to 425 over a whole regular season. Other ones to mention, RJ Harvey. I like him on the Broncos, 724.
He'll be the lead back. Like it's one of those. Like, can these rookies stay healthy? If they do, I think all three of them are going to hit 700 because RJ Harvey's entering a situation where they don't have a number one running back. Like, kind of their run game was their weakness a little bit last year, so
Yeah.
it's all there for him to take.
Yeah. And CD Lamb with Dak Prescott,
Oh,
healthy. CD is over 1200. Yeah, I know he's not like towards Chase Jefferson levels in terms of yards, but I think 1200's probably not enough. And I think they've factored in, they probably factored in a bit too much the George Pickens effect.
yeah.
CD's still the number one.
I've got CD on my list as well. I had him at the yardage I saw was 1175. I mean, yeah, okay. Pickens comes in. Does CD Lamb lose a bit of volume? Yes. But Pickens also opens it up for Lamb.
Mm.
And CD Lamb is Dak's guy. Like, make no
Yeah.
mistake about it. He is going to get the ball. So
Yeah.
the fact that Pickens is there now makes it, I think it'll be easier for CD Lamb to hit that number.
Mm. And we've done our Super Bowl bets, Super Bowl picks, title game picks, but if it doesn't work out the way that we think it will, then looking for value, give me the Bucks 25-1,
Yeah.
small little sprinkle on that, and the Rams 20-1.
Ooh,
So if they both make it quite far, you've got two runners in the same conference.
interesting. So, as you know, last year I picked the Super Bowl and I placed a bet on it. Not the result, just the two teams to make it. So Chiefs Eagles was 20-1. Well, if the Super Bowl goes the way we both think it will, Ravens Eagles, you're getting that at 14-1. And I know it's not as like sexy as like a 25-1, but I do think it's got real chances.
Yeah, yeah. If you can spare a few pounds, dollars, euros this far, tuck it away, and then
It's the
yeah,
long game. It is the like, and funnily enough, last year's the first time I put season long bets on after listening to you bring them up like over a number of off seasons. I suddenly got well into it. So I'm definitely going to dabble, I think. But I've got another one for you, which is quite interesting. It's not a full season bet, it's a 4 week bet. A Steelers special 7-1 to start the season 4-0. And the schedule is Jets, Seahawks, Patriots, and then that trip to Ireland versus the Vikings. I think it has a shot.
it does. It does. What's the price?
7-1.
Okay, because yeah, when we did the season predictions, I had them 3-1. I had them losing in Dublin, but winning the
Exactly.
first three. Yeah. But this is the Steelers with Mike Tomlin. They're going to drop a game that's just dumb. I don't think they drop to the Seahawks. I think he could.
Home opener. Home opener.
Yeah, be crazy. Seattle.
At Jets, both teams are motivated to prove the Jets are out to prove Rodgers wrong. Rodgers is out to prove the Jets wrong. Something's got to give there, probably.
Yeah, and the Patriots will be better.
Is it at Patriots?
It's at
Or
Patriots. Yeah,
okay, okay. I
but
still like it though. I still like it.
I like it at that price. Yeah, because
If you tell me they'll go 3-0 and it just leaves the Viking games, I would say okay, I'll give it a go because as you
well,
said, that Vikings game is the tough one.
yeah, if you make it to 3-0, then you bet the Vikings. You bet the Vikings. You're covered.
Yeah,
Well, then you hedge.
you hedge. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I like the Steelers' early schedule. Really, really do. Um, and maybe I'm coming around more to this idea because I'm starting to go off the Vikings the closer we get to the season. So
Mm.
maybe they can pull it out. There won't be a home field advantage being in Dublin, but it is at least on paper a Steelers home game.
And you said that they travel. Your Steelers travel well, so it might be as good as a home game.
Yeah, it's a slightly shorter flight for the Steelers than the Vikings. I think they're what, one time zone, one less time zone
Yeah. Yeah.
difference,
Okay.
maybe. Who knows? Who knows?
I've got one more before I go into more props. I've got one more special that you won't agree with, but it is a division winner special, fourfold, 11-1. So all these teams to win their division: Bills, Chiefs, Ravens, and the 49ers.
Okay. Bills, Chiefs, Ravens. Okay, and that's what, 11-1.
11-1.
So if you
Uh,
think of it, you're actually getting 11-1. You're basically getting 11-1 that the 49ers win the NFC West because you can all right with no injuries. I think you can count on those first three.
I know there's jeopardy with the Chiefs, but I mean, me and you, we both have strong belief in Reed and Mahomes and Spagnolo, Chris Jones. That crew has been together and done it. So if
Mm.
you think the Chiefs will win it, yeah, you're basically getting 11-1 on can the Niners outlast the Rams.
Yeah. So then I place that bet and I request a bet, the same bet, and sub out the 49ers,
Wow. Wow. And you'll get longer odds.
or I just place the first bet that you said and then have a saver on the Rams.
Mm.
And then the Seahawks turn up, and then Stafford does have a back injury, and Trent Williams goes down,
We'll
and then
do it on the Seahawks as well. Do three versions of the same bet.
yeah, just be careful and make sure you do your accounting. You're aware of your liabilities, so you're not just I've laid out all this money, and then I've won, but I've
It's a long
actually
way.
lost. I've
Yeah,
lost in the balance, but I've
yeah,
won.
that's
I've won
true.
all these bets, but then I've lost in the balance. Like, yeah, don't have conflicting bets if they make sense.
True, true. I mean, last year I placed five bets. So I had three specials, which were Chiefs Eagles Super Bowl,
Mhm.
Saquon to lead the league in total scrimmage, Tyreek Hill to lead the league in receiving. So I was 2 out of 3 on those. And then I had just two Akkers on player props that were like 40-1 each. And one of them I had two on, so bye bye. And one of them I had CMC on, so bye bye. But I came up way up because Saquon was 9-1 and the Chiefs Eagles was 20-1. So
So, where do you generally find these bets?
so I go Coral, Sky Bet, Virgin Bet. Those are my three.
Okay, okay. I need to verify my Sky Bet account. They've blocked me from. I can't place any Super Six. just the Super Six thing.
Oh yeah, 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 yeah,
I can't even do that. They're asking me to verify with my ID. I thought it was because I worked for them, but I don't think it is.
yeah.
I think it's just, now the Big Brother thing, they want to have photo ID of everybody to verify they are of age.
Got it, got it. I found that if if they accept PayPal, you don't have to do all that stuff. But not everyone accepts PayPal
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
it's like pre-verification basically.
Hmm. Okay.
Okay.
So you got player props, you said.
I've got some player props that are quite interesting, I think. And if you can find um, a betting site that can stack them, last year Virgin Bet allowed you to do ACCAs. This year they're not letting you do it, which is annoying. So we'll see, if that opens up or not. I might even ask them. But looking at some of these numbers, I'm quite intrigued. Baker Mayfield is 3,800 passing yards. Now, bear in mind the last 2 years with the Bucks, he's gone over 4,000 both years, and this year he's got more receivers than ever. So I don't know whether Vegas is thinking, well, they're going to be up in a lot more games, and they're going to be leaning on the run game a bit more. Maybe Baker is more conservative in the fourth quarters and less shootouts, but I feel pretty strongly that he'll hit 3,800.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, I totally agree. Like I said, I've got a long shot on Baker to be MVP, 25 to 1. Like, why not?
yeah,
And he needs to hit 3,800 to be MVP. Um,
yeah.
yeah, yeah, completely agree with Baker.
And then similarly, you've got Geno Smith at 3,650 yards.
Mm.
Now, I know that Pete
Yeah,
Carroll is going to be run heavy,
yeah.
so that is a concern. Like, how many games will the Raiders be in close? If Pete Carroll had it his way, close to the chest, 14-11 sort of game.
Mm.
But let's say that they don't have that, and let's say that the Raiders are in more shootouts or they're playing from behind. Gino puts up numbers. So, the last 3 years he's gone over 3,600. So again, I think that's a good one to go with.
Haven't the Raiders though just did they trade or did they cut Jacoby Myers? So who plays receiver for the Raiders?
That's the issue. It is going to be like, Bowers is our main target, and I just wonder how much Genty will get in the sort of dump off
Yeah,
situations.
yeah,
Because if he makes if you get him in screens or check downs, he's got the talent to make something happen, and that's going to count for Gino.
yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah, you said CD Lamb. Here's an intriguing one. Jameer Gibbs is at 1,075. Now I know that he splits with Montgomery, but like he's hit that pretty comfortably throughout his short career so far. My only hesitation is I heard that he's been lining up at receiver more. So I wonder if that's a way to get Montgomery more involved in the run game and still keep Gibbs on the field. That's my only hesitation. But if it's not, Gibbs is hitting 1,075.
Yeah, my only concern would be new OC.
New OC, yep.
And the Lions seem to be a bit game plan specific. So it might be or they either play more Montgomery against certain defenses and
There's
more
that.
against others, or they were rotating series.
They
So
yeah, but that's the thing. They rotate, but if Gibbs goes for 75 yards, which he did 4 or 5 times last year, 1075 over 17 games, you're asking Gibbs to what, go 60 per game? I think he can do that.
yeah, no, no, I like it. I like it. Just yeah, there'd be concerns, but yeah, I do like it because Gibbs can easily have a 200, 250 game, and then you're well ahead of that on
Yeah.
pace.
And then I think the last one. Well, Genti's at 1050. I think we covered that. I think he hits that. Like he's going to get so many touches, and I'm the same with you. I think he'll be a superstar in this league. But my last one is Justin Jefferson at 1250. Now he's hit that 4 out of 5 years, and the one year he didn't hit it, he was injured for 6 games. So he played 10 and he still hit 1,000 yards that year. So I get it, rookie quarterback, but this guy is quarterback proof. He will hit 1250 if he's not hurt.
Yeah, but he can't throw the ball to himself. That would be something.
But
If anyone could do it, he'd throw it to himself and then run downfield and catch it. But
true. But if he can get to 150 plus yards with Josh Dobbs and Nick Mullins, hopefully JJ McCarthy is not a complete flop. And if he's not, I think Jefferson's going to hit 1250.
yeah, yeah, until proved otherwise with these guys, yeah, 1250. They have factored in because Chase is closer to 1400. So they factored in the quarterback into that number.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I don't disagree.
Chase at 1400. Again,
I'd
the
still do.
Bengals are going to be behind. They're going to be in shootouts. Like,
Yeah,
as long as he is, like you say, 8 or 9 out of 10 this year, he's probably going to hit that.
yeah. And then just to throw in an under, I'd throw in I'd throw in, and I hate to do it, but I'd throw in DK Metcalf under 1,200. I think the number's 1,200 receiving yards. He's not he's not Devontae Adams and he's not Garrett Wilson, as in he's not precise in his route running. He's more of a just get downfield and just out jump the guy and just be physical.
Which
And
would worry me because which Aaron Rodgers are we going to get? Are we going to get normal Aaron Rodgers who will let it rip? Or are we going to get Mr. I've got the best touchdown interception ratio in NFL history, check down Aaron Rodgers? Because that's the thing. Like, just you're going to have to throw it up to DK Metcalf, and he's going to win a lot of the time. But I don't know if Rodgers wants to play that way.
yeah, the Steelers angle, and I don't know the number, would be Jonnu Smith receiving yards. So Jonnu Smith could easily be the Steelers' number 1 receiver and be on the field a lot. And it is true, the talk. Arthur Smith loves Jonnu Smith, and he's going to be involved a lot.
He's been with him twice, right? Tennessee and Atlanta. And we saw last year when basically Dolphins went into protect mode with Tua, it was get the ball, throw it to Jonnu Smith really quickly on a screen, and he can handle major volume and be productive. So I think that's a
Yeah,
great show.
and Aaron Rodgers does at the age of 41. He wants to get rid of the ball quickly.
There you go.
Yeah.
The last thing I want to say, I was looking at sack totals, and this one's always a difficult one because you never know who's going to really stand out, but the numbers are like kind of low. Well, I say low, like for example, Miles Garrett, 12 and a half. Like, I don't know, like, should he hit that? Or, TJ Watt, 11 and a half. What did TJ have last year? Maybe it was around that. Maybe it was sort of around 12.
Yeah, it was 12. And he had according to everybody, he had a down year last year.
Well, that might be like a stats version, but if you watch the games, to me, he was still making major impact.
Oh, yeah. He was making more crazy interceptions than,
Yeah.
he almost plays DB as well when the sack's not there.
Yeah.
He's an absolute menace at jumping up and batting the ball down and catching the ball. Yeah, he's just an absolute menace. But yeah, I get it, what you're saying, because these guys can have 20 sacks in the season. And the
Yeah.
number, yeah, it's 10.5, 11.5. Abdul Carter was 7.5.
He's going to get chances on
Yeah,
that line. He'll get chances, but as you said, rookie. You know, factor in that he's a rookie. But at the end of the day, some of these rookies are going to have an instant impact. So it's just which ones are they going to be? I personally love Abdul Carter, and the fact he's gone into a situation where teams can't just go, well, double him. Okay, double him. What? Then you're going to leave Dexter Lawrence, what, one on one, or Brian Burns one on one. You're going to have to pick your poison there. I think he'll definitely have a good chance at that.
yeah. So I'd be interested in if we could request about the Giants to lead the league in sacks.
Ooh, they're going to be on the field probably a lot as well. So yeah,
Yeah, yeah. See if we can request a bet for that.
definitely.
And yeah, that's all I've got so far for bets. But I'm going to continue to look between now and Thursday
Cool.
and see
There,
see what I can afford to lay up.
there is one last one. Amon-Ra St. Brown. I know it's a new offensive coordinator, but 1,100 receiving yards for a guy that for his career averages 11 yards a catch and gets basically over 130 targets per year and has 100 plus receptions per year. I think that's a pretty safe bet as well.
Yeah, yeah. I like being involved in any aspect of the Lions offense.
Yeah.
It's it's just the case of did Jared Goff need Ben Johnson? We're going to find out.
Yeah.
But I prefer to be involved in the running game in Detroit than passing game. But
That's the key because if they get the running game going as they have done, and it's not just Ben Johnson. I mean, you look at the offensive line; it's still pretty good. Like there's some big time players on that line. Gibbs, amazing. Montgomery, what a complimentary piece to have with him. If they get that going, then I think they'll be all right. And Goff can be Goff. It's where it's. I think if teams stop that running game, that's where the big question is with Goff. Can he carry this team on his back without a run game? But we'll see. We'll see if it even comes to that.
so we talked a lot about bets. Give me if you had to narrow it down to your screw it. Give me one, only one. We've only
Yep.
got time for one.
Yep.
Give me your best bet this off season to look forward to for this upcoming season.
As in a prop or
Anything. Anything. Could
anything.
be a win total, could be a division winner, Super Bowl winner, yardage, anything.
I think it's going to have to be a prop, and I'm going to say that last one, Amon-Ra St. Brown. Like the history proves it. He he has he averages 11 yards per catch, and he's averaged over 100 receptions every year. So hitting 1,100 receiving yards, I think he gets that.
Yeah, I'm going to keep it really simple. The more I look into this bet, the more I love it. Tampa Bay over 9.5 total wins
Yeah.
this season. I don't see a way where they don't make it to 10 wins. I think they're overlooked. Look at their schedule. If you look at the schedule, I just think it's coming. I think their 10 wins are better. I see them getting to 11 plus wins. So 9.5, I think, is too low. Tampa Bay over 9.5 wins.
They should get halfway just from their divisional games.
Yeah.
All right, mate. Well, I think we are out of time. That was awesome. I think we covered a lot of great props there, great bets,
Yeah.
um, and some very interesting predictions in the division as well. So next time we meet, we'll be doing the real thing, week 1 predictions. So we're basically there now.